Welcome back, gang. It's Deltia from DeltiaFromDeltiasGaming.com. Update 13 patch notes are out while the PTS still remains down. We went over on live stream yesterday, but I want to do a quick summary of what I think are the most important changes for Update 13 as it is right now before we can jump in there and start testing. Looking for a quick summary view of Update 13 patch notes? This is the video. So I got the entire patch notes. I'll link in the description, and that's great. You can check those out. But I also did something on my website, which is kind of went through what I thought were the most important changes, and I want to talk to you about that so we can kind of see, what's really going to happen in this next patch. First of all, housing's coming. There's a lot of details in the patch notes about housing specifically, but what I pulled out of it is really the cost. So there's a bunch of different types of houses. One you can get for free, then you can either pay gold or crowns for the rest of them, and they just range in variety of costs, like to 11,000 gold all the way up to almost 4 million gold for the manor. Though Faker is giving me a lot of gold, I still have nowhere near close. You also can use real-world money for this, so I imagine a lot of players are going to be forced to use real-world money. With that being said, what's this going to cost? If a little elk mount costs 4,500 crowns, 10,000, 15,000? So we'll have to wait and see, but yeah, the cost is a little bit too much. They're also going to be a target dummy, which you can get through master crafting writs, which is really cool. So you can just beat on this doing builds, testing, and so forth. And you can also duel in your house. It's going to be really cool. And I like the manor, the big, huge 3 choices per faction, because I think that's going to be like a guild hall. We talked about guild housing in the future, and I don't know when that's going to come. But for right now, those manors are going to be like a pseudo guild house. And I'm excited about that because you can set who you want to be able to go in this house. Speaking of master crafting writs, I know I do my crafting writs every day on PC. North America, it's just kind of like a therapy for me. I don't know why I do them every day. Just log in. They get a tempering alloy today. It's so fun. Okay, I'm weird. Anyways, maximum tier crafting writs reward boxes from all trade skills now have a chance to provide a special invitation to craft a very specific item or set of items. So essentially what this is going to be is something you can like get better mats, get cool stuff. So you get style material, motifs, the ebony armor for the ebony set. So I'm kind of curious what the medium and light looks for that. That could be really, really cool. So tip for you is start saving your writ boxes so when you open them, hopefully the new prizes will come out of that and you can get a really big head start. Don't share it. Keep it a secret. There's 4 new motifs that are going to come out. So this is going to be the Cradle of Shadow motif, Runes of Masatoon, Ebony like we said earlier, and then the Regatta found in Craglorn. So those are pretty cool. I like specifically the Cradle of Shadow one, so I'm going to have to go back in there and do that. Imperial City vendors will now sell all those sets like Black Rose, Reactive, Powerful Assault, and jewelry and sword and board or Destro staff, whatever. So go get your Black Rose Reactive builds ready, folks. It's coming. Cyrodiil bags, we talked about that in another video, but basically it's zone bags. So a way to spend AP and get random chance to get like Spriggans or Spinners or any of those overland sets that you don't want to farm world bosses. You'd rather just PvP. Some RNG bags for that. PvP quests, that's kind of interesting. They added some AP to them. Not a lot, but maybe something worth doing if there's a dead server. Max CP increased to 600. Okay, that's over. Now balancing changes. AoE capped increase, and I think this is going to drastically affect PvP. For 6 targets you hit right now and on the PTS, it'll be 100% of the damage you do. And then beyond that, on the live server it's 50, and now it's going to be 75. That's a really big increase, meaning I think that we're going to be rewarding smaller coordinated groups, taking out bigger groups by timing their ultimates, timing their bursts, because you're going to be doing a lot more damage to larger, massive groups. I'm talking about you, AD. Some miscellaneous things here. Increase the duration of break free. So from 5 seconds to now 7 seconds. So that'll be a lot better for people that just don't like to get stun locked. Reduce the amount of ultimate costs from 1,000 to 500. That's a direct kick in the pants to magic sorks that like to do overloads. So seems bizarre they would do that. A big change that I think is going to affect rating, though I'm not really a big PvEer right now, but created a new buff category called Minor Magic Steal. This debuff applies to enemies that restore a flat value of magic to the attacker every second. So 400 magic every second at CP 160. Now, why is this going to change things? Well, currently in trials, you're probably going to have someone run Elemental Drain, which I think gives roughly that amount or more. And you're also going to have someone run Siphon Spirit, which is going to give you 1% back of your max magic on attack. Mystic orbs or healing orbs, which also give you magic back as well. What this means is basically you're probably not going to have the same magic sustained once we get in there and test. It also kind of limits build diversity and it limits teamwork. I liked having, you know, one healer run Siphon Spirit, one running LE Drain, and kind of coordinate with each other, you know, optimizing your party and your group to get the maximum sustain out of your group. I don't know. I don't understand this one. Major Evasion got a 5% debuff, so people that don't like really pulley dodge rolls or shuffle stackers, as they call them, that's a little nerf. Another big, massive nerf to raiding, which we'll have to see what this actually looks like once we get it tested, is basically Major and Minor Force. Major Force right now is 30% more total crit damage bonus, crit hit damage, or how hard you hit. So basically the idea is keep your Warhorns up, keep your Trap Beast up, and in PvE, bosses aren't immune to crit. They can't resist crit. So you just stack a bunch of crit, stack a bunch of crit hit damage, and you do crazy DPS. Well, not so much anymore. You got this change. Minor Force also got a 2% reduction. And then also the Monster Helms and Proc Sense can no longer crit. If I were going to call Update 13 anything, it would be the crit nerf. Also minor lifesteal, so that's what Siphon Spirit got changed to, is that, but Blood Altar does the same thing and I don't think has a cast time, so maybe Blood Altar will be useful now. Into class balancing changes, and we're gonna do Templar last because, you know, I'm gonna shed a tear. DK got some love, and Lava Whip increased the damage for this ability and its morph by 5%. I didn't know Dragon Knight needed a buff to whip, but 5%, that's good. And so, Dragon's Blood can now critically strike. That's huge. Coagulating Blood, this morph now heals you for 33% of your missing, wait for it, magic. So what this means is you could build a magic DK with pretty much no sustain, massive magic pool, and use Battle Roar as your sustain, and basically have monster healing. So I can't wait to see what people come up with. Theory Crafting, Vortex, my man, shout out to you. He has a really slick build waiting for this if this goes live. A super excited change is Ferocious Leap is now not magic damage, flame damage, baby. That's going to hit really hard. So hopefully this will be a really nice burst tool since the magic DK is lacking that in the ultimate department in terms of magic ultimates. Nightblade, not a whole lot going on here besides a nerf to Strafe, which is a little bit bizarre. I think the Magic Nightblade needed some love, and it really didn't get it. It got a nerf to their spammable attack, which a lot of people are using Force Pulse and Trials anyways, using Scathing Mage. So, you know, it's a spammable ability. It's really cheap. It heals you. It's really good for new players, leveling, VMA. And I just don't see why the cost was increased. It's not like it just one-shots everything. I'm just really disappointed in the Magic Nightblade. Stamina Nightblade didn't get an in-cap nerf. Viper, we're going to get to that. But that meta still is not going to go anywhere. So if you still hate getting one-shot or two-shot because of Viper in-cap with a heavy attack, you're still going to hate it. Sorcerer, some nerfs here. So Hurricane, we predicted that one. That's pretty good. So they got nerfed. Pretty big amount. Still gonna be really useful, so don't go crazy about that. The one thing that's truly bizarre is Malicious Curse. So I don't remember a whole lot of people saying Malicious Curse is super overpowered, or, you know, it's in fact it's the cornerstone of the Magic Sorc rotation right now, and it makes it so much more fun because it's 3.5 seconds. So using Malicious Curse, you know, bar swapping, putting a blockade down, Liquid Lightning, coming back, doing a curse, or even in PvP, loading some up with a curse, an Endless Fury, and then boom, frag, and it all goes off. That takes skill. That takes practice. That takes coordination. Instead, you change the skill to basically 6 seconds, and then it blows up another 6 seconds later. I mean, why did they nerf this? This is the one counter to dodge roll, roly-polies out there. Put a freaking curse on them. They can't dodge roll. They can't avoid it. You can cleanse curse. There's counters to it. I just don't understand this change. Really disappointed in curse. All right, you ready? Ready for my baby? My baby Templar? Here we go. It ain't good. It ain't good. Blazing Spear. Rip the stun on Blazing Spear. So this will no longer stun. It lasts from 6 to 8 seconds. So Luminous is still going to be a disorient, so you can still use that. Basically what this is going to be now is a dot, a more powerful dot. I use this in my single target rotation. Now that it has 2 more seconds on it with an 8-second elemental blockade, It'll be really nice to maintain this in PvE, but the missing stun is kind of a kick to the shin here with PvP. I guess I'll slot Aurora Javelin and be that guy that spams that. Backlash. So basically Templars. Power of the Light is really not that useful right now, and this might make it useful. It depends on what this means. So this ability and its morph now do moderate damage when it's applied to the enemy. So what does that mean? Is that 5,000, 2,000? Because if it's actually a decent amount, it can crit. Power of the Light will actually be a decent tool. So we need to see what that actually means. Radiant Destruction. Bang, bang, bang. 21% damage decrease. Okay, calm down. It's not the end of the world. Yes, Omega will still do fine. We're going to have to go through and reevaluate the percentage in which beam is optimal. So Gilly MacMillie will probably go through the math on that, and I'll probably do a separate video where I show you what Omega looks like on live compared to PTS and where the damage really is. 21% to beam nerf, you know, it is a big deal. I wish they would have went with the reduction in range so it could be more countable in PvP, or even like a 10% damage increase, but 21, that's pretty harsh. Lingering Ritual. So now this is Hasty Prayer. Basically it applies a small burst heal after 8 seconds, and instead it allows you to move and cast the ability at full speed. So is this a mobile AoE massive heal? That could be really overpowered actually. Radiant Aura, remember when we talked about Siphon Spirit Elemental Drain being basically into one buff category? Well, no reason you're going to be using those skills because the Templar can use it. Radiant Aura, this morph gives minor magic steal, and it does it for 28 meters. So basically your entire party in a raid or a PvE trial, or I guess a PvP raid as well. So, I mean, it's a useful thing to use now, but it kind of kills two skills that were fun to use. Moving on to other changes. Bow, Hawkeye. This is a passive where if you light attack, heavy attack in between casting abilities, you build stacks. And the more stacks you have, the more damage you do. So this got a buff, meaning more damage. But what it really needed, along with the buff to damage, is it needed more duration. Because right now, Snipe casts 1 second. These buffs fall off if you're not perfect with your rotation. If you're not a freaking robot or a macro user, these things will fall off and just completely kill your damage. A little disappointed it didn't get a duration increase along with the damage to make it more usable. Now to the truly bizarre, and that is the Destruction Staff. Welcome to the zoo. Oh, Elemental Storm got a reduction in damage by 5%. So that's still not really going to change. It'll be meta. Problem with it is you can't block the damage from this ability. So that's what really needed to change in my opinion, not so much the damage that it did. Talked about Elemental Drain. Elemental Ring Impulse no longer does damage over time. Instead, it allows you to cast it on the ground up to 28 meters away. So basically it becomes like a new Scolding Rune, which seems odd. I didn't know that needed to change. So it doesn't do damage over time. So, I mean, is it going to be a spammable Blazing Spear now? It's very odd. Now, try focus. Wait for it. The Frost Staff, fully charged attack, now taunts the enemy. Okay, I'll say it again. Frost Staff, heavy attack, taunts enemies. Bizarre. The passive now causes your block to drain magic instead of stamina. Welcome back, Permablock. You're back. For good. Magic DK. Enjoy. Moving on, Ancient Knowledge gets even better. This passive no longer decreases the cast time of heavy attacks, instead gives you a bonus. Flame Staff increases your single target damage by 4 to 8%. So how does the game know what single target damage is? Is like the Manacora programmed in the background? Like, okay, you get the 8% now. Bizarre. Frost Staffs increases the amount of block damage you can block and reduces the cost. Essentially, Frost Staffs have the same block passive as One-Handed and Shield. I don't get it. Lightning Staffs increases area effect damage by 4 to 8. So are you going to carry 2 staffs on you now? One for AoE fights, one for single target. Everyone's going to use Lightning Staff now? I don't know. One thing I am excited about, Clouding Swarm. So basically this is the high damage ability ultimate, the counter to Devouring Swarm. So now it has a thing that you're going to do damage, but you can click it, and it's like a gap closer 22 meters away. And you can keep clicking it for its duration and kind of just do like a spam bush. So it says it hits for high damage, so this thing might be really overpowered. Fighter's Guild, another slap in the face to stand bills and crit. Decrease the damage done by 30%. So you ever played a stand build? doing trials, doing dungeons, Rearming Trap is one of those top DPS producers. Not so much anymore. A good change is Scalding Rune got a damage increase off of its initial damage and also the damage over time. I really like this change. I'm disappointed that Scalding Rune did not include Minor Force. So if you want to mirror Mage's Guild and Fighter's Guild, you need to give that Minor Force. That's a big deal, so Magic builds don't have to run Trap Beast. Another positive change here is the Lady CP tree Unchained, which basically allows you to break free, 120 point passive, and you can use, within 3 seconds, as many stam skills as you want, basically for almost free. So most people wait to get CC'd and then they refresh their buffs when this window's up. And you can block cancel 3 abilities. I showed it on stream yesterday. So that's a really good change. Now you can only do 1 and you have 5 seconds to do it. A couple item set changes. Black Rose now 4-piece will include max magic instead of stamina. So it'll be a little bit better for maybe a Magic Dragonite paired with Trainee to use. Engine Guardian, you know this is my set. This is my set, and then they nerfed the droid. You can't repent the droid anymore when it goes away. I mean, the one useful thing about Engine Guardian is that free repent. You took it away? I mean, were there that many people who were out there saying Engine Guardian's OP? Besides me. Viper Sting. Fix an issue. With this thing could proc out poison and disease damage. Okay, so no damage nerf. No proc chance, so it'll still be guaranteed damage. Okay, can't crit. No in-cap nerf. Okay. So, what changed in PvP? So, I know I'm being a little negative, a little harsh here, and I love this game. I love this community, but I'm really disappointed in the balance changes. I'm super excited about housing. I want to get the achievements. I want to dress up my house, sit on my Emperor throne, and, you know, just hang back and do nothing in the game but look at my training dummy hitting the same buttons over and over. But with the balance changes kind of the way they are, I thought they would kind of revise some classes that needed love. Looked at the top players, you know, the top PvEers and see, you know, what's going on with PvE right now. For instance, Vet Hard Mode Rakat. Okay, how many people in the world have beat it? Maybe 150 people on planet Earth? It's because, so now you change Warhorn, Trap Beast, making it much harder because the damage isn't there. Yet there's no defensive buff either for people to like essentially wear light armor and not get one shot by the mechanics. So you're making content that not even 1% of people can beat. You're talking about 0.00001% can beat. That seems like a waste to me. I like hard content, but you know, does it have to be ridiculous where 0.001% of planet Earth can beat it? Very bizarre. PvP. Hey, I don't like this. The proc set changes. Tremor Skull didn't get a nerf. I use it. Why? It's cheesy, but it is so effective. Really disappointed that Heavy Armor didn't get a nerf as well. I think they needed to either keep Constitution, keep Wraith, but to get both, where you do a lot of damage and you have great sustain, I just don't think that's good for the game. Disappointed, but we'll get in there and test it. We'll stream it. We'll do it live. We'll check it out, see if it's really legit. If it's bad, we'll give our feedback. Remember, these changes aren't final, so our opinion does matter. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you like this. I know it's Debbie Downer tell to you, but hey, we got to keep it 100.